Tomorrow at 11:15. Trapped. A young man is mugged and left unconscious in a deserted store. James Brolin as the man trapped in terror. Tomorrow at 11:15 on Thames.
You know me. Well, I do round here. I run this trout fishery. Any luck?
Yes, got a nice one.
Oh dear. I'll have to put the other one in now. When I'm travelling, having a famous face doesn't help pay for meals, hotels and things like that. But this does the business. The American Express card shows exactly who's who.
Apply for the American Express card today.
Don't leave home without it.
Muesli. Keep the shelves nicely stacked.
In a large Sainsbury's, we'll sell over 140 different cheeses. Now, notice the display. Temperature controlled, cheese in perfect condition. Ah, this is interesting.
Can you show me where the mustard is, please?
Roquefort, perhaps the greatest of the blue cheeses. It's made from sheep's milk.
Sorry.
Mr. Mustard, the customer couldn't find it.
Sainsbury's, where good food costs you less and the service is free.
Here in Britain, there's a company that's out to change the world, simply by bringing countries closer together. For example, we've laid a submarine cable tying Australia and New Zealand to Canada via Fiji and Hawaii. Our telecommunications connect the Caribbean to the rest of the world. Our Earth stations link Britain with the Middle East, Hong Kong, and America. And by 1989, a fiber optic cable will span the Atlantic, transmitting at the speed of light. We're called Cable and Wireless, and we're growing bigger by making the world a little smaller.
Turn your love around.
George Benson, the love song.
Never give up on a good thing.
Stylish.
Deep love is what you got. You got the
sophisticated.
Music in the air and lots of loving everywhere. So give me the night.
Sensational.
Love you one more time. Because the
George Benson, The Love Songs. Probably the greatest love songs album you'll ever hear.
Mrs. Jones, I've come to fit your gas heater.
Oh, yes, it's for the hall.
Oh, yes, I see what you mean. That's done. Didn't take long, did it?
No.
Right. How's that for a quick warm-up?
Oh, that's better.
And you've got complete heat control. And it's economical to run, anytime, day or night. Your old man won't recognise a place when he gets home.
Wonder Fuel Gas. Nothing else has the same effect.
I'll call him tomorrow. I'll call him tomorrow. Tomorrow? On second thoughts...
In business, that extra little phone call can often save you a whole heap of trouble.
Hello. Right in, Neil.
Ah, I was just coming over to see you. For all business, great and small, make that call.
Later tonight at 10:35, Judi Dench stars in our romantic drama, Saigon, Year of the Cat. This is Thames from London. It's 10 o'clock. There now follows a party political broadcast by the Conservative Party.
Be upstanding in court.
Members of the jury, we are here in this courtroom because the government has had serious allegations made against it. The outcome of this trial will be decided by you alone. With your votes, you have the power to sentence this country to 5 years hard labor. Consider your position carefully.
My lad, the Conservative Party stands accused of making serious cuts in everything this country holds dear.
And how does the defense plead?
My client pleads not guilty, though we do admit to the making of cuts.
You admit making cuts?
Yes, my lord. Cuts in income tax. Cuts in the number of those liable to pay tax. Cut by 1.25 million people. The government also admits to cutting the number of strikes. Cut to their lowest rate in 50 years. The government further admits, if one may say so, to cutting Mr. Scargill down to size. My lord, I object. Mr. Scargill should be given the opportunity to reply.
Very well. Call Arthur Scargill.
Call Arthur Scargill. Call Arthur Scargill.
It appears Arthur Scargill does not recognize the jurisdiction of this court. Proceed.
My lord, another cut. Inflation has been cut nearly in half, whereas the only thing the last Labour government cut in half was the value of the pound. Well, lord, if the Labour government failed economically, it was because it put compassion first. The Conservatives may have cut inflation, but what about cuts to our hospitals? Does the defence admit cuts here? It does, my lord. My client has cut hospital waiting lists by more than 75,000 people. My lord, I object. I wish to show the true state of the National Health Service today. Witness, please. Matron, how many fewer nurses and midwives are there in the health service now than when this government took office?
Fewer? None.
None?
None at all. There are now many more nurses and midwives, 58,000 more. Also, the number of hospital doctors and dentists has increased. Do you want to know by how many thousand?
No.
Yes.
By 5,000 more.
Remarkable.
But is it not so, Matron, that the hospitals are now treating far fewer inpatients?
No. The facts are, in 1984, our hospitals treated 800,000 more cases than were treated in the last year of the Labour government.
Thank you, Matron. Does the defence wish to say more about cuts?
No, my lord. I prefer to say what my client has increased. Home ownership, up by 1.5 million. Manpower for the police, up by 13,000. Real take-home pay, also up. Witness, please. Sir, would you tell the court what happened to your take-home pay under Labour?
It nearly doubled. But so did prices. I ended up worse off.
And under the Conservatives?
Answer, please.
I'm better off now. Much better off.
Members of the jury, in real terms, take-home pay for the average worker has gone up by 13%. The standard of living is up, pensions are up, benefits for single parents are up. And after allowing for inflation, spending on cash benefits for the long-term sick and disabled is 35% higher than in Labour's last year.
In the light of this evidence, does the prosecution intend to carry on?
Yes, my lord, because one charge still remains. That this government has failed to do anything about unemployment. My lord, unemployment is serious. My client admits this. But let me show you what this government is doing. It is spending 3 times as much on help for the inner cities as did the last Labour government. It has set up the youth training scheme so that every school leaver can be trained for work. As from April next year, no 16 or 17-year-old need be on the dole. And just last week, the government announced extra help for those out of work for more than a year. The government also has encouraged new jobs. Last year, more new jobs were created in Britain than in the rest of the European community put together. The Conservatives have cut. They admit this. Yes, they've cut strikes, cut inflation, cut waste, cut taxes. And it's because of these cuts that this country has the real hope of a better future. My lord, the defence rests its case.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, it's for you to decide if this country is worse off or better off under the Conservatives. We will, of course, accept a majority verdict.
That was a party political broadcast by the Conservative Party. This is Thames from London. News time now at the studios of ITN.
Oh, when you see how cleverly we design our TV, Ferguson, here's the one you will choose.
We're so advanced, you'll be entranced by the way we enhance every program that you wanna view. till it's correct in A1 condition.
And then we nurse it.
We rehearse it.
And then give out the news that Ferguson gave birth to the blues.
And the reds, yellows, greens, browns, purples, pinks. The new FST sets from Ferguson, with flatter, squarer tubes. No one is more switched on.
There's a health food store in your neighborhood that sells 6 different kinds of rice, including brown, that has a full range of fiber-rich beans and pulses. Lots of pure fruit juices and pure water, and more mueslis and yogurts than you thought possible. There are whole wheat pastas, low-fat milks, and even low-fat sausages. And we also sell bath salts. Sainsbury's, where good food costs you less.
World Cup football for the family. England versus Turkey at Wembley. Come early to be sure of a seat.
902 1234 Wembley.
When you buy a travel card, you can not only get cheaper travel on the tube, on top of that, you get the buses for free. The travel card.
Pucky's has got a small outspan. Oh no! Watch out for outspan. Small ones are more juicy.
Cliff Robertson stars in the thriller Obsession.
Why is your 5 called Ritz?
Because it's a little cracker.
The all-new Renault 5. What's yours called?
Harp, now with Allure, the new style radiator that's setting a fashion for heating. Ring 464-6575 now.
Nationwide Bonus Builder is a remarkable new extra interest, instant access savings scheme that you can open with just £100. And immediately some of your money will start helping to build the homes Britain wants. But there's more to Bonus Builder. The more you save, the higher the interest rate rises. Because more savings in Nationwide means more funds for more homes. And for you it means that when your savings reach £10,000, you move to Nationwide's top rate of 9.5% net. And that's what makes Bonus Builder such a well-planned scheme. The more you save, the more you'll earn. And the more you invest, the more we can keep putting the building back into society. At Nationwide.
The IBM PC-AT. Businesses now have a better way to handle the daily downpour of information. The PC-AT can store not 500, not 1,000, not 10,000, but as much as 20,000 pages of information, all safely under lock and key. The IBM PC-AT, your key to more powerful personal computing.
Whenever I'm away from England, there are times when I long for a well-turned English phrase. For a bit of intelligent discussion about films, books, darts, and jazz. That's when I sneak off to where I can get it. The British Embassy.
Your guardian, Mr. Lloyd.
Thank you.
A woman should always choose the things that become part of her life. Ophelia. Only from Avon.
Oh dear. I look a bit worn and crumpled, don't I? Only old grey hairs they could do with a new blue rinse. It's time I started thinking about a pension. Still, I could talk about it till I'm blue in the face. I've done it. I done myself a favour and made an amicable arrangement. A Scottish amicable arrangement. Oh, the way they put away your loot. I put on pounds.
Scottish Amicable. We're a company of note. Just ask your financial advisor.
Any more fares, please? Excuse me, sir. I think you may have passed your stop. If I could just see your ticket.
No way. I'll get on here anyway.
Well, if I could just see your ticket.
Ticket?
In the past 2 years, London Transport prosecuted over 10,000 people for fare evasion. Some were fined up to £200 or more and received a criminal record.
Get out
out of my way! Get out of it, sir!
In some cases involving assault, the consequences were even more serious. The journey ended here, in prison.
The London Standard asked Christie's of London to find some beautiful antiques. Now, the Standard is giving away free all these exquisite pieces, chosen by the world-famous auctioneers. They are genuine antiques and superb collector's items, and they'll all be given away absolutely free by the Standard. Read the London Standard and find out about these treasures.
Standard! Standard! Read all about it in the Standard.
I've had a great idea for the kitchen. Look at that.
Lovely.
Visit your local Schreiber Centre and take advantage of our free in-home design service. For the best idea you'll ever have, call 100 now and ask for free phone Schreiber.
Now there's a completely new kind of Andrex. It has a fuller, softer feel. A fatter roll and a more absorbent kind of strength. Which means it goes even further and lasts even longer. And that makes it even better value for money. New Andrex, now even better value.
That meant there was no need for a full-scale jury trial. So once again, all the available evidence was never fully explored. The boys were simply sentenced. Darren Lloyd, aged 19, got 2 years youth custody for causing actual bodily harm. Michael Leahy, aged 17, got sentenced to 4 years youth custody for causing an affray and unlawful wounding. When the sentences were passed, there was uproar in the public gallery. People in Bermondsey felt wrongdoers had not been punished, that the proper charges had never been brought.
My son had his life taken from him, and no one's bothered, and I've said before, they've got away with it.
Had they been charged with murder, they would have more or less pleaded not guilty, but it would have been left for a judge and jury to decide their guilt, not just for a judge to decide.
The Seiburn family weren't alone in their sense of loss and outrage. Their MP, Simon Hughes, was a near neighbour who knew David. He's also a criminal barrister who's acted many times in cases very like this.
There's no letter tonight available. Okay, bye-bye.
Simon Hughes felt strongly that the evidence could only be sifted at a full jury trial, and the only way to get that was by bringing heavier charges. Are you saying that homicide charges of some kind should have been brought in this case?
Yes, they should have been. And the reason they should have been is that here was a case where a youngster, a 17-year-old, died. He wouldn't have died if he hadn't have been attacked, almost certainly, and that's the issue of fact. And that therefore the jury, we always say that juries are the deciders of fact in British law, the jury should have decided that. They never did. They may have found that there was no intention to kill or recklessness as to whether death would result. But at least the issue would have got into the public area for debate and been decided. The way it was done, it was never...